Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. This is why I need to stop going to bed at 1 in the morning and force myself to go to sleep at a not ungodly hour. But alas, that is not what I did last night, and so we both have to suffer the consequences. We're gonna hope that this angle is fine. First off, I'm sorry if I seem low energy. I woke up literally half an hour ago. Coffee. Okay. Okay. Hi, I'm Ashley. I run Ashley T Art, and we're doing this again. This is everything I crocheted in August. So the way this is going to go is I'm going to actually get my list in order because I did not have that on the right page. Whoops. So how this is going to work is I'm going to tell you what I made, the pattern creator, and the pattern will be linked below in a document that I've started that just has all of my videos and all of the links, and I'll link you to the specific video section. Yeah. I'll tell you the yarn I used, and I'll tell you approximately how long it took me to make each item. I will tell you the day I finished it on. That does not necessarily mean I started it on that day. The majority of these I started a day before, a few days before, the week before. Take the amount of time I use as a grain of salt. Like, I timed it, but that doesn't mean it happened, you know, quickly. Some of these I took a bit on. Disclaimer, please don't compare your productivity to mine. I literally have no day job. This is my day job. Day job. I'm not making money on it yet. I need to get all my stuff listed on Etsy. By the way, I do have an Etsy store where I I do have an Etsy store where I sell prints and stickers. Please go buy stuff. I would love you forever and ever and ever. Okay? Okay. Okay. Spoiler alert! Oh my god, there are so many market bags. There's so many market bags. Not all of it is market bags, but I was very close to having it all be market bags. So spoiler alert on that. It's a lot of market bags. Okay, let me see if I can find... Oh, okay. I think I know which one's which. That one is not from this month. That can get fucked. This pattern is by Jen Fox on Ravelry. I did make this one bigger than the pattern suggested because I do actually need this. It did not need to get fucked. This is how big it came out when I did the pattern measurements. That is how big I tried to make it on my own. This is a Karen cotton cake in the colorway Sunset Dreams. This bag took me about 7 hours and 15 minutes, thereabout. This is the last version of this bag that I made. I decided I wanted to shop around for more bag patterns. Not that it's a bag. Not that it's a bag. Not that it's a bad bag pattern. The bottom, though, I didn't enjoy making it. So, personally. Item 1, done. Number 3, I made a whale. A whale. A whale. This is the whale I made while watching Jurassic World Rebirth. This one, I actually technically made 2 of these. But I got to closing up and then realized I didn't put eyes on it. I forgot. So he is not with us. Rip. By the way, Jurassic Park Rebirth, absolute dog shit. Absolute dog shit. The best part was the T-Rex, the scientist, and Doris. It tells you how dog shit that movie was when I don't remember the baby dinosaur's name. She was adorable. Don't remember it. That movie was terrible. Oh, did I say that I finished this on the 3rd? I finished it on the 3rd. I also did another bag on the 3rd, but I do not necessarily remember which one it is. Oh, it's this one. It's this one. I got it. I did this market bag. This is the Maui market bag. Hoping I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I'm sorry. This is by Susan E. Kennedy on Ravelry. The bottom is the Karen Cotton Cake in Sunset Dreams. And then the top is white, harvested either from a Karen cake in the colorway it's too early for me to be doing this shit. Fresh baked bread or beach glass. I don't know. I would hazard to say it was fresh baked bread. But yeah, so a teeny tiny market bag. On the 5th, I made another market bag. Yeah, pretty colors, pretty colors. This was also by Susan E. Kennedy. It's the same. It's a Maui market bag. It's the same thing. Oh, I forgot to tell you. This one took me 7 hours and 55 minutes. Just under 8 hours. For simplicity's sake. But that was also me kind of figuring out the pattern. This one took me 7 hours. The bottom is Karen Cotton Cake Fresh Baked Bread. I got that right. First try, go me. And then the blue is from the beach glass. On the 6th, I made a beanie. Wow, that looks really tiny. I promise it does fit on my head. And I have a big ass head. So, I promise it works. It's fuzzy. I don't know. Yeah, you can definitely see it. It's fuzzy as all fuck. And I promise that is not me at my house. Surprisingly, that is just what the yarn looks like. I really don't follow a pattern for panel beanies anymore now that I figured it out. But originally, when I made panel beanies, I followed Viv Crochet's, her tutorial. So that will be linked. I bought this yarn secondhand. I mean, air quotes aren't necessary. It was secondhand. But the place that I buy secondhand yarn from does a really good job. Like, they do not resell it unless it's got the label and everything on it. So I know what I'm getting. Which is a problem I have with the idea of thrift shopping yarn, is a lot of the time it's like, I don't know what it is. This one I did know what it is. And this is Yarn Bee Andy's Alpaca in Dark Apricot. I am like 99% sure this is a discontinued yarn entirely. The label looked really old. Maybe not that old, but I just started crocheting this year, so really old to me. That one took me, that one, as if I'm not holding it in your face. This one took me about 6 hours. On the 7th, I finished. Well, the label's kind of in the way, but you'll have to suffer. A purple earwormer. A purple earwormer. This is made with Baracolanas. On the label, the color is 95142, but looking it up, it said the color is Forget-Me-Not. So, that's what this is. I used the pattern by Rebecca Langford on Ravelry for this. It's a little tight on my head, but also, again, I have a fat head and a lot of hair. So, this one took me about 3 hours. This, when I eventually put it up for sale at some point, when I get off my lazy ass and actually do that shit, will be heavily discounted. Because, same as the ginger beanie, I bought this yarn secondhand. And I was so excited because they sell all of their skeins for $2 a piece. So, doesn't matter how large it is. I've gotten hand-dyed yarn for $2 a hank from there. Fantastic. Love it. Oh my god. Wonderful. Excuse me, sir. And I thought I was all fancy and shit getting wool for $2. It snapped quite a lot. I would hazard a guess it's because this got eaten at some point or left somewhere it shouldn't have been. So I would hazard a guess that this has been, the integrity is questionable. So, I mean, it does its job, right? And it's not, like, super weak, but it will be heavily discounted when I eventually list it for that reason. On the 8th, I finished another purple ear warmer. That one ended up going to my mom. That one only took me just under 5 hours. But I also did make that one bigger. So, on the 9th, I did another market bag, but I shopped around for a pattern again after doing the Maui market bags. And so this is the spiral bag. It is by Christine Welcher on Ravelry. It's just a tiny little guy. This is a Karen cake in beach glass. This blue color. This one took me about 5 hours. The market bags always take me a while, and yet I cannot stop making them. It is what it is. After making the first market bag pattern, and then the Maui market bag, and then the spiral market bag, I decided that I would take the parts that I liked from every pattern and kind of Frankenstein it into a pattern of my own that I could use for my own convenience. So I took the parts I liked out of each bag, and I made my own pattern for my own use. I don't know if I can write it down and put it out because it's kind of a Frankenstein part of every pattern I had before. Otherwise I would have written it down and linked it to you. I can't. I don't know the crochet ethics in that regard. So from now on, all these market bags are just free-handed from my own Frankenstein version of the previous bags. Cool? Cool. On the 10th, I finished another market bag. Now with my own pattern. Yay. 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 This took me 6 hours, 15 minutes. Beach glass, fresh baked bread, Karen cakes. Cool? Cool. On the 12th, I made a little shawl. And you are not going to get a good, photo of this. I made a shawl. A shawl. And I feel all fancy and shit. This pattern is the Fitted Prayer Shawl by Jennifer C. Rose on Ravelry. It is a really easy pattern to follow. It was really nice, worked up really well. This yarn I also bought secondhand from that same place. It was Lion Brand Shawl in a Ball in Restful Rainbow. This took me just under 8 hours. And I love it, actually. I want to make more of these. I really, really do. I tried to make one later in this month. We'll talk about it. Literally 2 projects from now. But that yarn didn't do what I needed it to do. So this is the only shawl I have this month. But I do plan on making more of these. I love this pattern. There's also somebody who made this project on Ravelry who added a button loop and on the neck. And it just looks so pretty. So I'm going to take that idea the next time I make this. So, yeah. Also, this is boucle. Technically, the next boucle I worked with, I didn't appreciate. But I don't know if that's boucle or the color. You'll see what I'm talking about. This, however, was a dream to work with. Loved it. Shut up. I'm trying to film. On the 13th, I finished a market bag. This one, specifically, Karen Cotton Cake, fresh baked bread. The white might be from Beach Glass. I don't know. I don't have them labeled. All I know is the fresh baked bread has more white than the Beach Glass, so it might be either or. This one took me about 5 hours. And this one is my Frankenstein pattern. On the 15th, I did this guy. This was supposed to be another shawl, but this yarn to work with, absolutely horrid. I cannot see any of my stitches at all when I'm working with it. So I ended up making an infinity scarf. And I kind of love it, if we're being honest. I did not expect to love it, but I kind of love it. I kind of love it. This did not follow a pattern. I just essentially made a very long cowl. I started with 250 chains and just kind of went around until I decided it was a height that I liked. Conveniently, when I measured it out, it weighed like 113 grams and I had 115 grams left in the skein. So I will be conveniently getting 2 nearly identical sized infinity scarves out of that skein. Yay! But like I said, didn't use a pattern, just kind of did it. This is also secondhand yarn. This is a mouthful and a half, okay? Buttercream Luxe Craft Rainbow Boucle in Koala. Which I feel like there should be more light gray for this to be a koala, but I believe this was a Joann's thing. My apologies. RIP. This took me just under 5.5 hours. Mostly because the initial chain and single crochet, and then this is I don't know if you can see that on camera. But essentially what I did was just a V-stitch scarf, but, you know, around. So the first line of single crochets and then the first line of V-stitches took me forever! Because along with it being a dark color, it also is very curly. I call it my black sheep infinity scarf because it looks like black sheep wool. And it is so freaking hard to get that first chain going. Once you get past the first, it just goes. It's so fast. But that first one is a headache and a half. So it took me 5.5 hours thereabout. This one may also end up going to either my sister or my grandma. Because I know my sister wears infinity scarves semi-often enough that I, you know, associate infinity scarves with her. And then my grandma said she really likes infinity scarves when I said I made this. So it may end up going to one of them. It may not. Who knows? Another market bag. This one is on the 17th. Did I say the black sheep infinity scarf was on the 15th? I finished it on the 15th. It took me way longer than one day. That's one of those ones where it took me a bit. On the 17th, I did another market bag, but the bottom is 3 colors. 3 colors. The 2 blues are Karen Beach Glass, and then this one I would bet is I did it again. I would bet is fresh baked bread, and then the cream is either fresh baked bread or beach glass. I am just trying to get rid of these skeins. I am down to maybe 1 market bag worth. So I just have to get through that, and then I'm done with my Karen cakes. It took me just over 5 hours. 5 hours and 15 minutes, according to my records. On the 19th, I finished another market bag. This one has a brown and white bottom, because I was kind of running out, and it's got brown and white stripes. I actually like this one a lot. I mean, not that I dislike any of the other ones, but I like this one a lot because of the stripies. Oh, good lord. Was this the one I was sick during? I got COVID this month for the first time ever, so I got knocked on my ass for a solid week. So that might be it. But this one took me just over 9 hours. I believe these are both from Fresh Baked Bread. On the 21st, which was mid me having COVID, I made a light cover for my lamp. I do not have it. Well, it's in my office. I'm too lazy to go get up and get it. I do not have a picture of it, but it's nothing special. I literally took any scrap cotton I had, or cotton that I did not know what to do with, and I made a light cover. So I just made a spiral and just kept going until it was big enough to cover the light while still giving me some light. I just did double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So it had the squares, but it also kind of helped block the light because, good lord, the headaches. I don't hardly ever get headaches. So when I do get them, they knock me on my ass. so I needed something to cover that light. Needless to say, I made a light cover. It took me an hour and a half. I used loops and threads and big twist cotton. Loops and threads was in some blue colorway. I don't know. Editing me will put it here. I also used bark in loops and threads cotton, and then the big twist I used sage cotton, which I got just before Joanne closed. R.I.P. On the 25th, after making my mother an ear warmer, she said, "Oh, hey, a bunch of my teachers help drop off kids after school. When parents drive through, could you make them some ear warmers for when fall and winter come around?" And I said, "Sure." And she was going to have me make them in the school colors, but instead we came to the agreement that I would make them pencil ear warmers. This is the first one I made. I've made 2 so far. I need to make around 10. I'm kind of putting it off. This is a list and a half. I did not use a pattern for this. Now knowing how to do this part, I just kind of went. This one's a little big, like stretch-wise, which is saying something, because again, fat head and a lot of hair, and it's still big. So I have to adjust the measurements as I go. But pencil ear warmer. Are you ready for this? This took me about 4 hours, by the way. The black is Black Pound of Love. The wood is Linen Crafter's Secret. Yellow is I Love This Yarn in yellow. The gray is Soft Gray Mix Karen 1 pound. The pink is Loops and Threads Soft Classic in light pink. On the 26th, I made a cat beanie. A cat beanie. I followed Viv Crochets on YouTube, her tutorial. This took me forever. This was something mindless on the tail end of me having COVID, because it was just double crochet after double crochet after double crochet after double crochet. This was so boring, but I needed to get through it. So I'm trying to kind of use up some yarn before I go about buying more yarn, which has not been working for me. So this is Red Heart Gumdrop in the shade Grape. Bought this secondhand. I bought like a dozen of these skeins in different colors. Secondhand, $2 a skein. Was not gonna say no. What? So soft. So soft. So soft. This, by far, the softest Red Heart I have ever worked with. I would say it's a step, just a step below I Love This Yarn. It is so soft. So soft. But I had to get rid of it. Did not know what I was going to do with this colorway, so I made a cat beanie. Because I figured that was fun and silly. And kind of whimsical. Whimsical. This took me just over 5 hours. So not as bad as my other panel beanies, but I think that's because I didn't have to cinch it closed and stuff. But yeah, this took me forever. I think next time I do a cat beanie, because I'll probably end up making more of these, I'll go about constructing it differently. Because somehow, no matter how many times I measure a beanie, it always comes out too small. And I really do not know if that's me having too much hair or if I'm actually making it too small, which is really inconvenient. On the 27th, I made a back scrubber because I felt like it. I do not have it with me. It is in my bathroom where it belongs. However, I did have the foresight to take a picture of it. So there's that. I used a pattern by Yarnspirations. It's free. I'll link it below. The yarn I used is Hello Honeybee Yarn Bee Scrubology. That one took me just under 3 hours, which was not bad. It, for me, used just under 1 skein, and I bought 2 skeins. So, what I did after, because I had, you know, some left, is I started making face scrubbies. Just little itty bitty face scrubbies. Don't mind the string on that one. This yarn is terrible about pulling string and it just snapping, so I just left it. I figure it, you know, added some character. But because I had an extra skein and some left on the first skein, I just started making face scrubbies. So I actually made 5 of these. One of them is in my bathroom. I used it already. But I brought these to show you as representation. On average, they took about 24 minutes per scrubbo. The max one of them took was 30 minutes. I did not use a pattern for this. I tried the magic circle. Does not work. Does not work. It's also kind of hard to see the stitch definition because despite how light these are, it's got, you know, little scrubby fringes on it. So it's kind of hard to see the stitches. So I just did circles. I was not going to follow a pattern and get all fancy. These work just fine. On the 28th, nope, not that one. That was my first one. I made another ear warmer, and somehow, despite changing the measurements of every section to be shorter, this came out looser than the first one. Don't know how the hell that works. So I would assume this took me about 4 hours-ish. I didn't time this one. I think I just forgot to press start on the timer, and by the time I realized I was too far into count for it. Same as the last one, Pound of Love, Crafter Secret. I love this yarn. Karen 1 pound, loops and threads. Cool. On the 29th, I made another market bag. Brown, white, brown. This one took me 5 hours. It was Karen Fresh Baked Bread. That one took me 5 hours. And then I made a bandana. A bandana. It looks cute. This one will not be for sale. This one's for me. I specifically bought these 2 yarns because I thought they went beautiful together and I wanted to be very cottagecore. So I love this yarn, Spunky. I love this cotton, Spunky. And then the green is, I love this cotton in Olive. This one took me questionable. I don't know. Apparently I didn't time it or I didn't write down the time. That's my bad. I used Kelsey's bandana pattern, as I always do. But this was just after her video came out saying she did the space rows between, which I thought actually looked very pretty. But instead of doing it every other row, I did 2 solid rows and then 1 space row and then 2 rows and then a space row again. That's all, I think, actually. Somehow I have 2 whales in here, but I don't know where they came from or when I did them. So at some point I did some more whales. Don't know when. And then the 31st, I believe, was Sunday. Yes. I don't know. I'm filming this on the 2nd. That is 2 days too many for my brain to keep up with. On Sunday, I made 2 more whales. Not these whales, because the 2 whales I made were given away to my little cousins. So I don't know where these 2 mystery whales came from, because I don't know if the universe threw them back at me. I don't have these written down. So 2 mystery whales. Don't know where they came from. That's everything I crocheted in August, and unlike my last video, I remember this time, yay me, that this is the amount of projects I finished this month, and that averages out to this many projects per day for August. This is where I'm going to leave you. As per always, I don't know how to end a video properly, so I'm just going to say goodbye. Thank you for sticking around with me. I hope you had fun. Or at least, you know, I staved off your boredom. Did you crochet or knit anything while you were watching this? Tell me what you're working on in the comments. If you're nice, and if this video entertained you the entire time, or you watched through most of the video, please leave a like. If you want to see these every month going forward, for as long as my stupid brain will let me actually remember to do them, subscribe. Yay! If you want to see more of me, here is a video YouTube thinks you will like. And here is my playlist of crochet videos. Very small, but I'm working on making it bigger. That's what she said. Have a good day!